to parrot basically every person who's wrote a review on the Forever Winter, this game is just brimming with potential. I mean, yes, it has its criticisms, and some are a little more harsher than me about not only certain mechanics like the water mechanic, but also about the early access niche. I don't. That's not a word, obviously, but it's very EA. It's very early access. It's janky. Frame rates are all over the place, so it's not. It's pretty badly optimized, but that's what early access is for, right? So it's like I believe I spoke about this several times, at least to someone. I don't know if it was to the ether like I'm doing now or to an actual person, but I remember saying that, what constitutes as early access and how early can you release a game, right? Like some people would even argue that this game was released way too early, especially paying $30 for it. I will say $30 is I don't I think that's slightly expensive. That's uh one of my complaints. And honestly, it's not a complaint I really thoroughly thought about until right now. Now that I'm thinking about it, like $30, that's half of $60 in case you didn't know that. If I just taught you something, but what I mean by that is like typically games, well, games nowadays are more on 70, but like I see that slowly becoming more common, but the games that I see that are $70 are like usually, maybe I'm wrong, but they're established franchises that, from established game devs or companies that like Konami or Capcom, they can release games like that. Bandai Namco, you name it. From Software, all these companies, they've been around for quite a while, and they kind of like, they can ask for 70 because their brands are big. Um, but for an EA title from a developer, which I assume is their first title, I understand that a lot of them came from a lot of AAA backgrounds, so they know how things work for the most part, or what all the work that goes into making a AAA title. Probably from these companies that I named for. Maybe some of them worked for them, maybe not. But I think once again, like I guess some people may look at my reviews and kind of just go like, of course Dan's going to take it easy on them because that is the way I am in general. I feel like outrage is something that should be reserved for extreme cases, right? Like I see it all the time when I'm on like Reddit or just on Steam forums. Like whenever I'm just online in general and I'm researching a game or just reading about some mechanics about a game I'm currently playing, I see people use this language that's just like it's exaggerated and it's very dramatic, like oh, some guy I think wrote it's traumatic. It was very traumatic for me to play in this difficulty or something. Something I don't remember the exact phrasing, but it was something along those lines when he was describing. I think it was Dying Light 2. Like it was very traumatic for me. And then someone, thank God, corrected him on the bottom. It's like relax. It's a video game. It's not traumatic. And sadly, we live in an age today where like people would agree that this game is traumatic because to put it to be blunt, I do believe that our generation is getting this current generation of people, we're getting softer. We're getting more like alarmed at things that normally you should kind of just not bat an eye at or kind of roll off your shoulders. Certain words and situations where I see people just freak out, and I'm like, hey, relax, everything's gonna be all right. And I believe that, and this is from a very dumb guy's perspective, but I just believe that the safer society gets, one of the byproducts of safety is, you know, cowardice. It's being less confrontational, being because like I know there's some psychology to what I'm saying. It's like, you know, if you live in a society or if you live in a neighborhood where the biggest upsetting things that happen is you arguing with the Walmart manager because You thought you were going to get a certain discount on an item, and to you that's the biggest deal. Your heart is racing. You're getting all this adrenaline in your body, and you're just like, you go home, you start talking to your wife about it, and you're upset, and you're just like, I can't believe this person. I'm going to email everybody in corporate, and like to that person, that was the equivalent of fist fighting someone in a parking lot, which to me that's a much more extreme case, and that's where you should be using the word traumatic. Like, hey man, I was fist fighting this guy out in a Walmart parking lot. That was a traumatic experience. I go, I fucking get that, bro. Like, that's a serious situation. That it can it's a life or death situation in some occasions, many occasions, most occasions. But arguing with a manager about a discount, to me, like, I understand that, like, if you compare both of those two, of course one is going to look like the lesser threat, of course, by comparison, right? But what I am trying to say, this is a long-winded way of saying that since our society is getting safer, problems that we used to not get let those problems get the best of us, they're getting the best of us now because there's not a lot of threat. We went from worrying about cougars and panthers ripping us to shreds at night, real genuine threats, to, the Walmart situation I just named, the fucking manager arguing with you. Like, we that's how safe we've gotten over the years. Of course, it varies. I'm speaking about America. I'm right now as I'm speaking. There's countries that are at war and they're dealing with genuine threats, right? No one can argue against that. Obviously, the United States can't say that Ukraine isn't under a serious threat because we keep donating billions of dollars to them, right? Which, take care of home first, brother. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to get political with no one, but I'm just saying take care of home first, especially if someone like me pays taxes. I've never been on welfare. Not that I have anything major against it. I do believe some people use it as a crutch, but whatever. What I'm saying is, I can tell you now from someone who pays taxes, and I'm not a lawbreaker. Like, I can tell you that it's hard out here for me, man. And it feels like a slap in the fucking face when I'm sitting here and I'm paying all this money for food. Like, food is in America is so expensive right now. And then, I'm just hearing, oh yeah, you're just donating billions of dollars to a different country. I understand they're at war and I understand they need support, but it's like, so do we. We need support too, like, especially people who are law-abiding citizens like myself. So it sucks. It feels like, damn, all right, I guess you do got the money, but I guess I don't feel as important. I guess my situation isn't as pressing. And I mean, I guess it shouldn't be, considering that I'm not at war. I'm not literally dodging bullets or having friends die. That's fucking horrible, man. That's a horrible thing. So all I'm saying is that take care of home first. You got to take care of home first. And that's the end of the video now. So it's kind of fitting, actually. I didn't even mean this segue, but war and the forever winter, not the Ukraine war and the forever winter. That'll be a terrible segue. There's no way you can compare uh, a video game to an actual event where people are suffering, real life people are suffering. But yeah, so thank God that we are living in a society where generally, at least I can speak for America, I can't speak for no other country, where things are more safer. So I do believe that a lot of that translates to video game reviews, right? Which is like, some people are just very critical and very, like, I'm very Karen like, very, I want to talk to the manager, and you know this is bullshit. Why is this game EA? I want my money back. And people are very entitled and very, especially when you know you're anonymous for the most part, like when you can just hide behind no profile picture and some wacky name you've made up because you want to be edgy or you want to be weird. Like, it's very easy for you to be a dick. It's so easy, when there's no repercussions for the most part. So that sucks. I feel like you should just be a decent person regardless of where you're at. If you're a decent person everywhere you go, you don't have to worry about making a fake screen name and having no profile picture on your, you know. I do believe as long as you're a decent dude. Maybe I'm old school, you know. Maybe I'm an out of touch old man. I don't know, man. You kids tell me. So, the Forever Winter. Finally, we're back. It's good. That's the best thing I can tell you. Let me explain to you why it's good. Yes, it is janky. Yes, there's lots of mechanics in the game, and also that are questionable, like the water mechanic. Me personally, I can see why they implemented this because it is a realistic aspect to the apocalyptic situation that they're living in the forever winter, right? You do need water every single day in order to not only survive, but also to have some sort of a community, right? And also it keeps you coming back playing the game, right? Because the water runs out in real time. I'm sure this has been covered ad nauseum, but the water runs out in real time. So 1 barrel of water equals 24 hours of real lifetime, not in-game time, real actual lifetime. So, as I'm speaking, I haven't played the game for about 2 days, and the last time I checked, I had 8 barrels of water. So I probably should have around 6, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 5, because sometimes, you would add a barrel right where it's just a few hours left for that 1 barrel to expire. So I think that it's not too big of a deal if you play the game regularly, and this is where it. I can't speak for no one else. I don't know what the. I feel like lots of people just want it gone regardless. They don't want a timer to be ticking in the background while they're out doing real life shit like work or taking care of their families. I understand that. If you're someone who really likes this game and you plan to play it every day or at least every other day or maybe every other 2 days, but definitely several times a week, the water system is not going to be a problem. Some people feel like, even if you are going to play this game regularly, you shouldn't have to water grind for quite a while in order for you to even start your missions and stuff like that. I get that too. Personally, it doesn't bother me that much. I feel like I can do it. And I feel like if that's their vision, I'm going to respect that. Once again, you do you. But I feel like it's totally doable for me. Um, they said something about that they're thinking about tweaking the system, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I would like to see what they have in store. But also, as of now, as the system stands now, I don't really have too much of a problem with it. But I can see how other people have problems. I'm not gonna gaslight you guys. I'm not gonna sit here and go like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these guys. They're just being pussies. They can get water every time they play the game. Like I'm not. I understand where you guys are coming from. You guys have valid points, but at the end of the day, if the developers came out today and said we're not changing shit, you guys are just gonna have to deal with this water system, I'm gonna go, all right, I like the game enough for me to continue playing it with the current water system. But I got a feeling that is not going to go well with lots of other people, you know. So I do want to talk about this other subject called respect your time, right? I hear that a lot. This game does not respect your time. And I'm just like, that's another one of those phrases that I hear that I'm like, that sounds like a whiny kid that wants everything now and then. So he comes up with some sort of a problem to justify his behavior, right? His whiny behavior. It's like, I want something now, and you're not giving it to me, so you don't respect my time. Like, you know what I mean? That's what it sounds like to me in my head. Um, but I will say, to play devil's advocate, as I usually do, I will also say that I genuinely, the clock ticking in the background at all times, even if you're not playing a game, that is kind of like a, now you've got a real issue where you can come up to me and be like, yeah, what about now? Do you feel like the game respects your time if there's a constantly ticking timer? That's when I go, now you've got a valid point, you know? I guess they say MMOs don't respect your time either, but I feel like people use that loosely. Some people say, oh, the game doesn't respect your time because it's a big grind. And I'm like, but it's supposed to be a big grind. It's a goddamn MMO. They're not just going to give you everything right off the bat. You won't continue playing. So yeah, people misuse it all the time, and I guess those are the people that I'm talking about. But that's the water system for you. Like I said, you can, man, literally type in Forever Winter, and you can have so many YouTubers and people in the forums describe it way better and eloquently than I can. So go there. Don't listen to me. I just wanted to talk shit about my life and use video games as a front. That's what it feels like sometimes. I didn't really mean that, but that does feel like that sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I just put up a video game that I want to talk about and just end up talking about, I don't know, fights at parking lots at Walmart, like I did earlier. But I don't mean it that way. It's just That's the way my brain works. Hence why I'm probably doing this podcast shit in the first place, to just let the stream of fucking craziness. I don't write these. I told you this before. This is all just improvisation. I'm improvising. I think that's the word. Improvising. I know that's the word. Improvisation. Whatever. I can't rave enough about the atmosphere. I think they nailed it correctly. Like the mechs, you really feel like a small fish in a big pond. Like you really do. Like these giant mechs that are towering over you that can just turn around and blow you up. It's happened to me at least one time where I'm just there, like, all right, I'm ready to go, and I don't know where it just says you died or life function ceased or whatever your game over screen says, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it says a mech, shot you, blew you to giblets, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, how was I even supposed to? There's been a lot of deaths that are questionable. So far, I would say the two biggest issues that I've been having with this game is the frame rate, which once again, I understand completely that this game is early access. So these things I knew when I bought this game that I was going to deal with this. So it didn't come as a surprise to me. Um the frame rate's all over the place, it'll go from 60 to 40 to 30 something, and kind of reminds me of Icarus. We were playing Icarus now, me and a few friends, and the frame rate is same thing. I don't know if it's because I'm the host. I don't know if it's an internet connection thing, but it just seems like every time, because I'm usually the host, so maybe I'm the one that's suffering with the bandwidth, or maybe I'm generating all these resources in the server, and it's causing my frame rate to just tank and then rise, and then it's all over the place. But that's what it reminds me of, kind of. Except that, believe it or not, the Forever Winter, it's a little more stabler. If that's the word. It's a little more stable than Icarus, which is wild because Icarus has been around much longer. Um, I know I can't be the only one that has optimization problems with Icarus. But as far as as far as the atmosphere goes, that's the biggest strength this game has, the Forever Winter. Like I've only played like maybe two different stages, maybe even one stage, and that's the Scorched Enclave, the stage you usually start with. I know there's a couple more, but I feel like I'm not ready for that yet. So I'm kind of just like, I feel like the Scorched Enclave is like the factory level in Tarkov, right? That's what I feel like. Small, it's compact, you can go in there and grab what you need. And I feel like once I complete a few missions there, because I'm still doing this drone part mission, like I'm still very much just starting the game. So I want to get to the next levels organically, meaning that like once I get a quest there, once I have some sort of business to be there, then I'll go to those different levels, maps. But as of now, I don't want to throw myself on there. I kind of just want to keep playing the Scorch Enclave until I, you know, gradually shift to a different map. Yeah, the fucking setting is awesome. The beautiful orange hue that like it's everywhere, like omnipresent, and it's like the dust and the debris from the battlefield. It's like covering the sun, so it's like you still get it's still bright, but at the same time, the sun is not. There's no sharpness to the sun. There's no beams. There's no light penetrating the thick dust clouds of war. It's just this hazy orange hue all over, and it's you've got the skeletons and the remains of dead people, and also mechs, and obelisks that were shattered with missiles, and it's fucking crazy, bro. Like, and it looks pretty good too graphically. Like I got mine's like on medium and it still looks amazing. Like graphically they're going somewhere with this game. um yeah, the atmosphere is easily the best thing about this game so far. Like it is amazing. It's like playing, you know, it's like playing the apocalypse part of Terminator 2 the movie, but with, a lot more brighter. Because I remember Terminator 2 at least. I've seen a few Terminators. I don't even know what's the deal now. I don't know if it's canon or non-canon. Canon, canon. As far as the AI, janky as fuck. Some of them got this little leg problem where they're just like wobbling their little legs and they're moving around everywhere. It kind of looks cartoonish, but that only happens from time to time. And also, just like I said, the AI and then the combat, which mind you, there's lots of runs where I completed where I didn't even shoot a single shot. I didn't let off a single bullet, and I think that's the way the game's intended to be played. Honestly, I think Tarkov is intended to play like that. But shit, every video that I watch, people don't obviously play like that. There's just one dude I watch, um, and he just runs out in the middle of the fucking field and just starts shooting people like it's Call of Duty. I'm like, Jesus, this man has no fear, no fear. I'm so terrified when I play Tarkov. I'm like ratting, as you kids say. You say ratting, I say that's the way you're supposed to play Tarkov. It sounds like I'm coming up with excuses, right? Like, oh, I'm a bitch, so this is the way you're supposed to. It is scary to play Tarkov. It's fun, but it's scary in the sense that not only can you lose everything, but you know you can get shot by a PMC or a scav and not even know where the fuck it came from. Like you like sometimes they voice line, sometimes everybody knows the problems that are present with Tarkov. Lately, it's been pretty good. I've been having some successful runs. I just did one this morning with my friend, and we have fun. But the AI and the combat here, when you do finally get to shoot something in the Forever Winter, it feels chunky and janky. It doesn't feel as satisfying. Um, I do feel like that's something that they're definitely gonna hone in on and perfect as time goes on. And I feel like that with pretty much every aspect of the game, to be honest. And at this point, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that supposedly they weren't even going to release this game in its current state, but they got a lot of pressure from fans to do so, so they did. And I don't think that this game is anything that's out of the ordinary that you would usually see in an early access game. Some people say, "Oh no, this game should have never been released on early access. It's too janky. It's badly optimized." I don't believe that. I think this game is most definitely early access material. It's super playable if you don't mind you know, the erratic frame rates, if you don't mind the janky AI, if you can push that aside, which me, I'm an old school gamer, so I've played games on all sorts of computers even before I really got into this, and also on consoles where it's just 30 frames per second, sometimes even lower. And so I feel like I kind of grew up with jankiness even in established titles like Skyrim or Fallout 76. Like, I just named two Bethesda games, but like even in big titles like that, there was a lot of jankiness. There was a lot of bad optimization, and you kind of just waited around for patches. I know that was the way they do it back then. I know someone's probably out there like that was back in the day, Grandpop. I get it. You're right. You're right. It was back in the day. But I mean, I guess you got to understand that these things take time, man. There's games out there, and Tarkov is one of them that they've been out for years. Tarkov's been out for like 7 years, and it's still not greatly optimized. And you know, it's hard, man. It's hard. You're dealing with a lot of code. A lot of code needs to work together. I mean, I guess I'm more forgiving than others. But yeah, a lot of people are really complaining about how the Forever Winter shouldn't have never been released. And I'm like, no, there's nothing about this game that doesn't scream early access. Like, I understand if it was like unplayable and it was crashing all the time and it was just I'd be like, okay, this is wild. Why is this even out? But no, I never got that vibe. I was just like, yeah, it's rough. It's a rough game. It still needs some polishing, but it's totally playable. And I feel like some people are harsher than I am, and I feel like I mean that's something I already spoke about earlier, so I won't rehash that, but it is true. I feel like some people are just way too hard on it, and I can only imagine how good the game will get once I finally get a grip on things and start to get good gear, and also visit different locations and have a healthy supply of water and unlock most of the things in the innards, which is basically the hub. Like I'm sure the game will get 10 times, but I'm sure Tarkov will get like that. I barely got anything in my hideout. I've just been every time I go on a raid, I'm just fucking just focusing on surviving. I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and do some quests. I do no quests. I'm just scared all the time, just fucking ranting and. But I'm getting better. I'm getting more, getting the balls to run out there and when I say run, I mean literally run. And do try to do quests and also try to take risks and actually kill people, which I do. Sometimes I kill up to 9 scavs or like a PMC in a run, and I'm like, yeah, but those don't happen too much. But I keep talking about Tarkov instead of fucking Forever Winter. I think that's pretty much, if I can sum it. I'm sure there's a lot you can say about this game. The atmosphere is the shit. Combat is subpar, but that's for now. And I mean, I guess it is fitting that I keep bringing up Escape from Tarkov because you can tell there's a lot of elements about this game that have been lifted from Tarkov and other extraction shooters, because the Forever Winter is an extraction shooter. It should be more of an extraction looter because the shooting elements are just added on. That's how I feel. Like I'm sure that's been when they first started making this game, that's what they were going for. I was like, yeah, we're definitely gonna have some action. But it is just, you're basically just a scav. You're playing as a scav, and you only should shoot when it's completely necessary. You shouldn't just go out there and Call of Duty it and just shoot everything you see. You're gonna die that way. So it for those that aren't used to being the special hero, you know what I'm talking about. In every video game, you're the chosen one. You're the prisoner. You're the only one that has this particular power. You're the only one that has this particular ability or attribute. You're special. This is not that game. You're a dirty little rat that'll get stomped to death by a giant mech if you're not careful. And there's something humbling about that. There's something about that that makes me want to keep playing the game. Like, oh, I ain't shit. The best I can do is, like, if I know I ain't shit and I'm a dirty little rat, the best thing I can do before with my shitty existence is at least get a barrel of water so other people can live. You know what I'm saying? That sounds, god damn, that sounded so depressing. But that is the truth because the game is depressing. The soundtrack is something I didn't bring up. Sorry, I waited all the way to the end mark of this fucking video to talk about this, but awesome. Also, I want to talk about the intro. The intro's dope. It's got this synthesizer music. I guess you can say 80-ish, 80s-ish, but it doesn't feel 80s-ish. It just feels like some real hardcore synthesizer music, which sounds pretty good. I like it. It's not something I would listen to on the regular, but I do like, it fits the game like a fucking glove. And then I don't know if it's the shaman, but it has this particular guy in the intro, and he's wearing like this bright yellow overcoat, and I think it's the shaman. He's got this mask, and he's just fucking typing away on a computer which is attached to the surveillance system that's overlooking the battlefield, and he's looking at all these angles of what's going on the war, because that's what the Forever Winter is. It's two to three factions, I believe, just fighting, and the war is so old no one even knows what they're fighting about. So this shaman is like hooked up to this TV of some sort, and he's looking at all these angles to the battlefield, and his fingers are just click clacking away. That was dope. I always like seeing that intro because it's just something cool about it. It just shows you like, damn, this it's a fucked up situation humans have gotten themselves into. Um, but yeah, like I would say, if obviously if this game wasn't an early access title and if it was released in this state, I'd be like, holy shit, they probably should have let this bake a little more. But it's clearly early access, and I can't speak for no one else, but for me, I would say the biggest issue is not even that water system. For me, it would be the price. I feel like this game should have been like $20. I really do. I feel like this is a $20 EA game. I do feel like that price can bump up significantly once the game hits that 1.0 release or whatever. Maybe shoot it up to 50 or something. Like if, you've got content in there that's been, you know, smoothed over and polished. But for right now, $30, I don't feel like it's royally expensive. I don't feel like that, but I feel like it's doable, but I also feel like I want to say you're not getting your bang for your buck, but you kind of are though. You can most definitely, because I told you about my system. I can't speak for nobody else, but my system is $1 per hour. You know, as long as you play the game that you just purchased an hour for every dollar that you spent on it, you've got your money's worth. So once again, if I paid $30 for this game, then I should play at least 30 hours, which I'm sure I've done. Matter of fact, how many? Let's find out. Oh shit, never mind. Only played 10 hours. So it looks like I got 20 more. Um, yeah, so I would at least try to play this game for 20 more hours so I can get my $30 worth. But I do feel like there's so much content in this game already, and everything runs. It runs. It doesn't run particularly well, but it runs. Uh, the sense of progression is there. It feels not tacked on, but it doesn't feel fully developed. Um, it is an extraction shooter, like I said earlier, so there's going to be a lot of extraction tropes to it, a lot of item management, and a lot. You lose all your shit. I believe you get a chance to get it back, but I think there's some caveats. I don't remember what the caveats are. I think most of the most important items are gone, or the big items are gone. You get to keep the little items. I don't remember because when I die, I don't even focus on getting my shit back. I know that's probably not the best way to play it, but I'm just like I'm gonna pick up new shit and just keep going. Like to me, that's lost already. Maybe Tarkov taught me that, but overall, right now in its current state, I would give. I would say if you do have $30 to spend and you want to witness something cool, yeah, go for it. But it's I can't adamantly give you a go for it. I guess what I'm trying to say is like be cautious. I can't I guess what I'm saying is this. I can't 100% recommend this game. I would say more like 70%. Do be cautious because I do feel like 30 is a little bit more than what this game is worth at the moment. And I emphasize that at the moment. I do believe that this game could surpass $30 in the future if they polish it and add more mechanics and stuff like that. Which, from what I hear, all of that it's in the way. I heard that this game did pretty good. Don't know exactly the numbers and nothing, but I do feel like this is a game that they're gonna tweak and work on as time goes on, and I'm here for it, man. I'm glad it's here. Let me get out of here. I feel like I've spoken more about everything else except the thing that I was supposed to be speaking about. I'll talk to you guys some other time. Be safe out there.